Hello, friends, and welcome to the Exploring Washington State podcast. My name is Scott Cowan, and I'm the host of the show. Each episode, I have a conversation with an interesting guest who is living in or from Washington State. These are casual conversations with real and interesting people. I think you're going to like the show. So let's jump right in with today's guest. My guest today is Joe Jim Petrie, who is the park ranger at Curlew Lake State Park. Jim, Joe, Scott, stop. Whip. Take 25. Sorry, Joe. Why am I calling you Jim? I don't know why. I was thinking. My guest today is Joe Jim Petrie, the park ranger at Curlew Lake State Park. Joe, welcome to the show. Sorry for butchering your name.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for having me.
How you and I started talking is that I am working on, we have this at Explore Washington State, we have this state parks directory where we list all the state parks, and we're going through it now for the summer, winter hours transition. And there was some confusion. So I actually called the number and you called me back, and we'll get into that. But before we start talking about your park, I want to talk about you for a couple of seconds. Joe, as a kid, did you want to be a park ranger? How did you get to where you are today?
Yeah. So growing up, I grew up in the Spokane area, and fortunately, my family always went camping. We had ocean trips every summer to state parks specifically. So we would go over to Twin Harbors or Grayland or Ocean City and camp at state parks. And so just that love of the outdoor, of going camping with family, but doing it at a state park where I saw rangers driving around, I saw people mowing the lawn, I saw all the stuff that happens in a state park, and just kind of caught fire on it. And it's something I always wanted to do. And so that love of state parks really started at an early age for me.
Okay.
And yeah, so
you grew up in Spokane, and how does one, well, in your case, let's just talk about your specific case. How did you become a park ranger? What was the process for that?
Yeah. So I became a park ranger actually a little bit later on in my career. I had a different career starting out. Well, right after high school, I went to Yellowstone, and I worked a summer at Yellowstone, and that's kind of where I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do, work in a park and be a ranger. And came back to Spokane, and after that summer, and ended up, just getting a job to, start working and stuff, and worked in a grocery store. And 15 years later, I'm still working in a grocery store, and kind of climbed some ladders, and did some department leads and stuff like that. But I was always kind of like, well, I always wanted to do this other job, and so I went back to college, and went to Spokane Community College and did a natural resource program there, a 2-year program, and then started working summers as a seasonal park aide at Riverside State Park, and just kind of got my foot in the door there, and ended up working about 4 summers there, and then doing a couple winters up at Mount Spokane, working as a park aide there. So and then finished my degree, and then promoted into a ranger position. And moved out to Central Washington and worked at Alta Lake in the Bridgeport area, and kind of bounced around the Eastern Washington, and working at Lake Chelan, and most recently at Sun Lakes and Steamboat and Dry Falls Visitor Center. And then I got the opportunity to come up here to Curlew Lake, and just a dream park up here. And so that's how I kind of got here and my path. So yeah, definitely.
Very cool. In fact, I was at yesterday. I had to go up to Tenasket in Omak and all of that. So I took the long way, and I actually went out to Steamboat and Dry Falls, and drove around, and it was a beautiful. As I'm guessing, it was beautiful up in Curlew yesterday. I mean, up there it was blue sky. The water looked great. The fall leaves were turning. It was absolutely just magnificent. And And I told you, I know I won't go into the story for this, but I told you about my mom and when she was a kid, how they would drive from Tacoma over there to the lake. Now this is predating the state park, but anyway, that area. So I have so many questions for you, but let's talk about the park. What do you know about the history of your park? When did it become a state park?
Yeah. So Curlew Lake, it's kind of pieced together over the years, and it's a lot of the land in Curlew Lake State Park is actually owned by Department of Fish and Wildlife, and the park was much smaller originally, but 1958 was when the park was created, and it was donated land from some of the local families here, and put together with Fish and Wildlife land, and it just kind of expanded over the years. So now it's about 80 acres, and there's 80 campsites, about 3 miles of trails, hiking trails, and a busy boat launch. And so we've got a little bit of different camping. We've got RV sites, we've got tent sites, some primitive sites, and trails. And so it's a really quiet, calm park, and family oriented park.
Well, let me ask you this question. On an annual basis, do you have any idea how many visitors Curlew Lake State Park is a host for?
Yeah, so it's a seasonal campground, so we're open April through October, the end of October. And I was trying to pull up some numbers here, but not able to get into my computer. But I thought I saw it as far as our numbers, about 50,000, and I might be off on that, but okay. I believe our numbers are that. I may be way off, but okay. It's busy in the summertime, but in our shoulder seasons, we definitely drop off.
Now, when you say it's closed during winter, online there seems to be some conflict, and I hate to question the park ranger, but there seems to be some confusion.
Yeah,
camping is closed, right?
Camping's closed, yeah, okay. And I think a lot of us get caught up in saying the park's closed because of campground, because that's really the primary focus of this park, but and the bulk of the work. But yeah, the park stays open year round. It's just the campground closes on October 31st. But our boat launch stays open year round. Something unique about our boat launch here at the park that I didn't mention, it's actually a no-fee boat launch. It was written into the donation of the land that when this property was donated by the family that donated it to the state, they wrote in the contract saying that there shall now be no boat launch fee at that launch, where other parks do charge anywhere from $5 to $7. But yeah, the water access to the lake stays open year round. It's just the camping facilities closed. So it is kind of confusing when you look online. And even before I came up here and took this job, I was kind of like, wait, it says this, but this says that. And so it's kind of funny that that's that's how we met for that conversation, right. For sure. But the park stays open year round, but it's just the camping that closes.
All right. And so you think, we'll call it a guesstimate, these are not official numbers, but you're thinking about 50,000 visitors to Curlew Lake State Park annually.
I'm thinking so. That's a number that stuck out.
Okay. We'll run with that one. Okay. And
yeah,
it's okay. This isn't hard math for either of us. Now, if I ask you to drill down on that number though, how many people do you think actually camp there?
I think majority of the attendance here is camping. I would say it's camping and boat launch. Those are our two things here. So with 80 campsites, that brings a crowd, and then it's the boat launch. We're the only public boat launch on Curlew Lake, and so anybody on the lake that's not staying at one of the private resorts or has their own launch, they're coming in and launching here too. So that definitely brings in a lot of crowd too. So
now, for them to access the boat launch, so they do need to have a Discover Pass, correct?
So there's something unique about Curlew Lake. It's you need a Discover Pass or a Fish and Wildlife Vehicle Access Pass.
Okay.
At other state parks, it's just Discover Pass. So you don't need or you need to have a Discover Pass, not the Fish and Wildlife tag. But Curlew's unique like that, where as long as you have either or of those, you're good, or your camping permit. So it's kind of a unique park where you're able to have that because we are co-owned by Fish and Wildlife. That's the reasoning on that. So it gives people another option.
So if now you made me think of a question another way. So if I want to go and camp at your park, if I pay my camping fees, and we'll talk about those numbers in a second, do I have to have a Discover Pass, or does my camping fee allow me access to the park for that period of time?
Your camping fee is your golden ticket.
Okay.
So if you're camping here, in any state park, that's the same thing. So if you're camping at that park, you'll get a tag that shows that you're in the campground, and that's your golden ticket. That supersedes your Discover Pass for the time that you're camping.
Okay.
So you won't need that in addition or anything.
Well, that's cool. I just assumed my idea of camping is bad room service, so I'm not your target audience. But I always assumed when I've gone and visited a state park that, I have a Discover Pass, and I just made the assumption that all the people that were camping would also have one. But that's interesting to know that if I reserve a camping spot at a state park and I don't have a Discover Pass for the period of time that my camp spot has been reserved, I'm good to go. The golden ticket, as you said. Okay.
Yeah.
Before we talk fees about the park, I'm going to put you on the spot. This is an impossible question for you. Okay. I'm setting you up for failure. All right.
Okay.
Just full disclosure.
Okay.
Full disclosure. And it's good natured. Okay. It really is good natured. How many campsites did you say there were?
80.
You have to pick one. Which is the one you're going to camp at?
I'm going to say site 36.
Okay.
And it surprised me this summer how little it was occupied. But it's up on a hillside overlooking, you can see all the way to the north end of the lake. It's a hike-in tent site.
Okay.
And so the reason that it wasn't occupied so much, you can't have an RV there, and it's a very steep hill to get up to the campsite. So, that filters a lot of different clientele for that. So, if you have mobility issues, it's hard to get to. Right. But if I'm camping at my park, that's the site I'm taking.
So it's just site 36. I can put you down for that.
Oh yeah, site 36.
Okay. I didn't think you would answer.
I could just label off, 10 more that would be my top 10 too. But that one, it really surprised me how little it was occupied this summer. A lot of my sites were full this summer, but that one just because of that hill, it's a very steep hill, but
sounds like it's got a really nice payoff. View. Okay.
It does. It does. So it's a little ways from the bathroom, which is also, a reasoning of why it maybe wasn't taken so much, but just the view is worth it, I think.
Okay. And you have accessible campsites, accessible bathrooms. So can we call them ADA compliant?
Yes, we have. Okay. We have one side of our bathroom that is ADA compliant, and then we have another side that is not, but and then our south bathroom is as well. But yeah. Okay.
Now, when I'm looking at the state's site for your park, it says park ranger station. Why do I care that there's a park ranger station? I mean, what does that really truly mean?
The station, I mean, it's really your point of contact when you come into the park, and it's it's where you're going to get all your information. It's where you're going to check in for your campsite, where you're going to get kind of squared away for your camping trip. And
Okay.
so um, it's just your central point of contact. I think that's what's important about it. We have brochures and pamphlets and information here at the site, but here at the ranger station. But it's
Okay.
really your point of contact here.
Okay.
So
I was just curious. I was just like, all right. So as far as state parks goes, and the ones that I've seen, and I've been to your park, it's beautiful, man. I was there on I forget what, I might have been March. It might have been early, but it was just another one of those, beautiful blue skies. The lake is absolutely stunning. It was what my takeaway from driving through your park and getting out, walking around, and actually talk to some people that were camping and all that, but is just, I don't want to say it was well maintained. Like, it's not meticulous. I mean, I'm not trying to say that the lawns look like they're putting greens and all of that, but it's well maintained. It's obviously you and the crew are busy working on the presentation of the park to the public. How many people does that take to run your park?
So this summer we ran it with three people. So the mowing, the weed eating, the bathrooms, the registration, the general park operations is three people, usually 3 to 5 people. But we have help from for anything skilled maintenance. We have our maintenance team, and they cover an area, and so that area is spread out between Winthrop and Republic, and so they have multiple parks within an area. But they um, they help us out with some skilled maintenance stuff.
Okay, this is kind of an interesting question. I probably wouldn't have gotten to organically, but this distraction actually brings it up. I'd like you to kind of walk me through let's pick a summer day, because we'll say the park is full. All right. So it's busy season at the park, not maybe what you're doing in January, but let's say, so arbitrarily, let's just say middle of July. What's a typical day like for you at the park?
Yeah. I mean, it can go anywhere really. It just depends on what happens and kind of dominoes from there. But, you get for in the summertime, I work kind of a night shift. And so my typical day is when I get here, I check in with my park staff and see, what projects, we've been working on, who's where, who's doing what, as far as, in the campground, who do we have in the campground? Is there any questions that need to be answered? Is there anything that needs to be fixed, that kind of stuff. So it can really go any direction depending on what the need is of the customers, or different facility issues that maybe if we have a full campground, sometimes that's hard on facilities. And so is there maintenance issues that come up with our sewer system, or just any other facilities like that. So it can really go anywhere, but a typical July day is getting on, checking in with staff, and getting out in the park and just being seen, making contacts, of just basically connecting with visitors and trying to create an experience. So that's really my big thing is, because growing up going to state parks, I had such an experience and memories, and so I try to do that for people who come to my park. And so whether it's finding out what campsite has a bunch of kids in their campsite, and can I do a junior ranger program or connect with them there, and just, trying to create those memorable experiences for people. I think that's the biggest and most important thing. But just kind of running the park day to day, making sure things are getting done. Grass is getting mowed, watered, bathrooms are getting cleaned. Customer service is our biggest thing here, and so just taking care of what needs to get done. Fee compliance is something that we do, or that I do here at this park, and so it's checking for Discover passes or Fish and Wildlife tags or their camping permits, and getting people registered and giving them those options to go and get those kind of passes. But yeah, typical day could go kind of anywhere, depending on, who knocks on the door and what dogs are loose, or, if there's, maybe confusion over campsites possibly. Fortunately, the park that I'm at here, it's a pretty quiet park. So as far as major issues, there really isn't a lot. A lot of the things that you can do on a customer service standpoint, you can really resolve those right away with that stuff. So,
okay.
But there's definitely parks that, are really busy parks that have some serious issues too. And so,
but you're kind of a more tranquil place.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. This is Curlew Lake. I read it someplace. It says that it's known as the most relaxing state park in the Washington State Park system. So I think that's a good title to have.
Yeah, I think. Oh, yeah, exactly. But everyone's gunning for you, though, man. I got to tell you, there's competition.
Yeah.
You gotta, okay. You mentioned Junior Ranger program. If there's a campsite with a bunch of kids, what does that look like? What do you do for the kids?
Yeah, so we have booklets. We have a actual interpretive program that we have Junior Ranger booklets. They come with stickers, bookmarks, flashlights, the whole works. And we can give them these booklets. And so during their camping trip, they can fill out their booklets. And once they finish their book, they can show it to a ranger, and then they earn an actual Junior Ranger badge. And so they can get that before they leave. And it's actually it's a really cool engraved wooden badge.
Okay.
And kids just love it. And so, and stuff that I do because of the area that I'm at, I like to bring, we have a fossil site in town, in the town of Republic called Stone Rose Fossils, an interpretive center. So I like to bring a bunch of shale rock out and let the kids break those open and find their own fossils.
Oh, wow.
And so I work that into my interpretive program just because it's something local here, and something they can go and then go dig fossils the next day while camping here. And the kids love to see that kind of stuff. So you crack open a rock and you find a fossil that's been, 50 million year old fossil. And so it's super unique to Curlew Lake and Ferry County in general.
The Junior Park Ranger program, is that at all the state parks?
Yes.
Okay. And you said you do this, you bring the shale out because it's kind of local to you, unique to you. If you were doing Ocean City, you probably wouldn't be bringing shale out at Ocean City. But do you have, as a park ranger, do you have some latitude as to what you can present in this? Does that make sense?
I think so. I think every park has the ability to kind of adapt to whatever area, region, environment they're in. And so I would assume that rangers over at the ocean are, talking about different marine wildlife and such, because it's around them. Here, we have a ton of gold rush history. We have a ton of fossil history. And so that's what's unique to this area. So I like to try to talk about that stuff that they can then go out and explore that. We have a railroad history here too. And so just talk about the things that are local to your park. And so there's some wiggle room as far as what you can present and stuff, depending on where you're at.
Right. Yeah. It wouldn't be particularly relevant if you were talking about, shellfish at Curlew. Just wouldn't work.
No, not really.
All right. I'm going to go back to that number, that 50,000-ish approximately. Your mileage may vary, folks. This is just the number that he threw out, and he's having, he didn't he wasn't prepared. I didn't prepare him for that. It's not you weren't prepared. I set you up. But I want to ask you, and you can tell now, just have to tell everybody visually. You can tell now my camera froze and you get to look at me with my eyes closed the rest of the time, Joe. Sorry.
There you are. Yep.
Okay. There you go. I'm actually here. Okay. So of that 50,000 visitors, does the state, does the park system, do you monitor where people are coming from?
Yeah. I mean, we have, when people make reservations, we see where they're from.
Okay.
I don't know if we necessarily keep track of any of that data as far as like I know that for reservations we have out of state reservation fees, so
Right.
there may be some information on that as far as people making reservations from in-state versus out of state, but beyond that I don't know how much of that information is collected.
Okay.
But I get visitors from all over the states and from other states too. I get a lot of people that drive here from the west side, 7-8 hours on a Friday night and show up at 10 or 11 at night and then camp and then leave first thing Sunday morning to get back home before they have to work on Monday. And
that's dedication, man.
It is. And it's worth it to them. I mean, they've been coming here for so many years. It's just tradition. So it's really cool to see that dedication of people coming out here and, that quick turnaround, but making it worth it to keep those traditions going.
Do you get many Canadian visitors?
We do. I mean, we are so close to the border.
You're what, 15 miles?
We're about 20 miles or so to the border.
All right.
So not far at all.
Yeah. No.
I mean, technically the closest larger town is Grand Forks, BC, to where we're at, and so we're closer to a Canadian town than we are, or a bigger town than we are a U.S. town. But yeah, we get a lot of Canadian campers. I think there was a dip in Canadian camper attendance this year,
Sure. Right.
for many reasons, but and that's just what I've been being told, not having been here a previous summer. So, but yeah, we love our Canadian campers and they come in quite a bit. So yeah.
Based on what you just said, this was your first summer at the park?
Yeah. So
okay.
I came up to Curlew in May. So this is my first summer for Curlew.
Okay.
I came over from Sun Lakes this spring. So,
and as the park ranger, okay, so let me before I start asking questions, let me give you some historical background. In the late 60s, early 70s, my uncle was a park ranger.
Oh,
and
cool.
I remember as a young kid, he was at Flaming Geyser out of Auburn. And then I think he was also doing Federation Forest.
Mm-hmm.
And in conversations with my mom, she thought there was other parks, but I only remember visiting him and my cousin at Flaming Geyser. So what I remember as a young kid is that there was housing there available for him and his family.
Mm-hmm.
Are you put up as the park ranger? Do you have housing at the park?
I do, and I'm super grateful for that because Ferry County is pretty remote, and it's definitely you can't just go. There's not a lot of houses on the market or places to stay. So yeah, definitely. So I'm put up in the park, and I'm super grateful for that.
Okay.
And it's a quick commute to work.
Now, and this is pushing the envelope of questions, but is that part of your compensation package is housing?
In a way, yeah. I mean,
okay.
It's you get a small, you pay for it. It's a small portion out of your check, but
okay.
It's definitely
would it be
a
fair?
good deal.
Would it be fair to call it like subsidized housing? Then you're getting the
Absolutely.
You're getting the park ranger
Absolutely.
hookup type thing. Okay, so
Yeah, the park ranger hookup's a good way to
all right,
put it, I would say. Yeah.
all right, and so this is your first summer here, and this will also be then your first winter there.
Yes.
And I'm going to guess that during peak season that you are putting in way more than 40 hours and probably you're working 7 days a week. Is that a safe assumption?
Surprisingly, no. We have enough staff, and state parks is big on work-life balance, and even though you're here living in the park, you get your days off, and there is times where something maybe happens and somebody comes knock on the door, and you suit up and you go and deal with it. But you try to stay within your schedule and have that balance, the work-life balance, and I've got an awesome staff here that hold down the fort when I'm not on my when I'm on my 2 days off, and so yeah, it's I think at other parks where there's serious issues, there's more of that jumping into things, but at a park that is pretty quiet, you get your days off and you get their work-life balance, and the state's really really good about trying to do that. So yeah.
All right. Now, during the summer, we talked about mowing lawns, maintenance, and by maintenance we mean the toilet is running and we got to get fix that. The septic system's got an issue, we got to fix that. We're not going to hopefully be upgrading a septic system during the prime use of the park. Now, as we head into the quote unquote, I'm making air quotes, you can't see me, I'm making air quotes, the off season, does your role then kind of shift to more park improvement / bigger maintenance projects?
Definitely. Yeah. Okay. I mean, right after Labor Day weekend, it was shifting gears, and it was shifting gears into projects and maintenance right away. For example, we just had a to-do list of all the things that we wanted to kind of just improve in the park and make better. So right after Labor Day weekend, I started painting bulletin boards, redoing horseshoe pits, and cleaning up trails, and just minor projects like that.
Right.
That fall season's really really big on doing. So.
Well, let's take one of the docks that you have there at the lake. Are you required to maintain that dock, or is that what your maintenance crew is for? Is that beyond your scope?
We work with our maintenance team on that kind of stuff.
Okay.
There's not a lot that we do. We get it ready for winter because the lake does freeze over. So there's a few things that we do to kind of prep it for winter. But we're after Labor Day weekend, we're working strictly with our maintenance team of kind of the shutdown park operations and kind of maintenance roles of that. But then we're throwing a few extra projects in here and there. But yeah, we work really closely with our maintenance team on that kind of stuff.
All right. Does your park have kind of like a roadmap of maintenance / future upgrades? If that's for, I don't know, I'm making this up, like increasing the dock size or adding more camping spots or things like that. Are those determined at the state level, or as a park ranger, do you have input to say, hey, we got this area over here that we could develop into 6 more camping sites, arbitrarily. How does a park continue to evolve?
Yeah, a lot of those decisions are made higher up, but I think that our higher ups do a really good job of kind of checking in with the field staff and field level staff of what they see. But yeah, a lot of that stuff's kind of higher up with our parks planners
Mm-hmm.
and our headquarter team and stuff like that. But they do, yeah, they check in with us and like, how does this work? Or,
Mm-hmm.
and we can always kind of make up, wish lists and stuff like that. And like, this would be kind of cool to do
Right.
here. And it may go one direction or not, but
Well, what do
yeah,
you?
most of
Let me
that's
ask you
higher up.
this. Let me put you on the spot again. Sorry.
Okay.
What would
Yeah, no.
your wish list? What's on your wish list? Do you have anything?
Oh yeah, I do. And there's, um, I mean, any park you go to as a ranger, you kind of, that first month you're there, you're kind of walking around, you're like, oh, well, I had this at my other park and this would be cool here or this and that, and something that I think would be really cool at Curlew would be a playground. And I think just a small playground back by kind of out of the camp loop, and it gives families with kids something to where they can be in their campsite, still see their kids playing at the playground, and just something extra that keeping people off screens and keeping kids busy and stuff. That's something that's on my wish list, to play a playground, and then maybe building more trails, and there's all sorts of cabins I thought would be really cool
Okay.
here, but it's a lot of it's it goes to the higher ups and
Right.
and planning and stuff, and there's a lot of process to it and stuff.
And budget. Let's be honest. It's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
those things you said just take money. I was going to ask
exactly.
you. I've been to some state parks that have cabins or they have yurts, and um, I would think like a handful of yurts at your park would be kind of cool. Like
Oh,
that
it'd
would
be
be,
really cool.
yeah, that would be
It
something that would get me out there. Like me, not that once again,
Yeah.
I'm not your target, but like, where was I on the west side? And we were driving through the park, and I saw these yurts, and I was like, I want to go inside. I want to see what one looks like on the inside, but that would work for me. Like
Yeah.
that would work for me. Like I could come here and hang out for a few days, and having a yurt or a cabin would be like really cool. Up in Concanelli, like they have got cabins, but they look.
Yeah.
I know I'm a tall guy, and they look like they're not. Like I might be a little like claustrophobic in it because it looked like it was a little short.
I really like the cabins at Concanali. They're one of Conk's one of the parks, the three parks in our area.
Okay,
And I kind of joke, it's like, oh, we could just take a couple of those cabins and bring them over here, but
they wouldn't
that's not
miss
how
them.
it works,
If they
So,
wouldn't miss them, let's go.
yeah, they would miss them there. We would love them here, but they would miss them there. I get it, but uh, yeah, that style I think would be really fun here,
Yeah,
having those kind of cabins, and a lot of the resorts in the area, they have cabins, and so it might just invite one more type of clientele to the park, and somebody that maybe doesn't have an RV, doesn't necessarily want to tent camp,
right.
but it gives you just one more option, and creating just more options for recreational opportunities is really the goal. So
Right. No, and I think, yeah. Anyway, oh, for somebody who hasn't been up to that part of the state, because you're pretty, you're pretty remote.
oh yeah.
You're pretty remote. You just don't drive up there just to check it out, unless you live somewhere, in Republic, and they've already seen your park. So let's paint a picture. What else is up there? Okay, so the person you're talking to now is someone who's like, yeah, we want to go to a state park. Have we been to? I'm randomly gonna just say they've been to Flaming Geyser because I mentioned that one before, and I'm gonna say they've been out to Ocean City because that one got mentioned earlier. But now they're looking to come over to the east side of the state, Central Washington, Eastern Washington. Not why, but what else is out there at Curlew Lake in around the area that would be like, oh, this is really cool. We need to come out here for a weekend or a week or some evenings. What else is going on?
Yeah, definitely. Ferry County is just a very unique area. There's a lot more going on out here than I think a lot of people realize. It's for recreation. This is just an amazing little hidden corner of the state. And like I mentioned before, the one of the unique things is our Stone Rose fossil site in town, where you can go dig Eocene period fossils, and that's very unique to this area. We also have a ton of just the history of the gold rush here, and there's mines everywhere, and just that history is really interesting. We also have a bike trail. It's the Ferry County Rail Trail up here. It's an old railroad bed that was a train line from the town of Republic into Canada during the mine to run gold and lumber and all resources there.
Right.
And when that closed, they turned it into a bike trail. So you can actually bike from the town of Republic on a path all the way up to Danville, which is right at the border. And it's just a fantastic bike trail. You go through a tunnel. There's an old train bridge that goes across the lake. Mm-hmm. And then just the lake itself, Curlew Lake is one of only 7 lakes in Washington that host tiger muskie. It's a fish. It's a it's a terrifying looking fish if you look at a photo. But it's the fish of 10,000 casts is what they call it, and so it's a big trophy fish out here, and it's planted in this lake every year, about 250 of them every year for sport fishing. And so it's something unique that only 7 lakes in Washington have that, and so that's something that's very unique to this area. But it's just the pace of life up here. Ferry County is just, it's a recreator. It's just an enjoyable area. So there's lots to do up here for sure. It's just, you gotta stop by the ranger station and get all the pamphlets and talk to the ranger first, and he'll get you all the information. But
and you know a guy who'll tell him what to do. Got it.
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of that it's like, even when I came up here, I had to kind of dig into, I knew all this stuff was around, but I didn't know really how to find it. And so it's kind of that old school last frontier. You talk to this person to talk to this person to know about this kind of place. And so once you know, I have a lot of campers that come in and it's their first time at Curlew Lake, and that's kind of what they ask. They always say, what is there to do around here? And so I go through the whole spiel. Well, did you bring your bikes? Because we got the bike trail. Do you got kids with you? You want to go dig some fossils? And some of the history up in the town of Curlew. There's an old historic hotel, the Ansorge Hotel, that closed down in the 1900s. And it's been just, you walk in there and it's like as if they just locked and closed the doors in 1907, and everything's still right in the same exact place, and you can walk through that. And so it's just time stands still up here, and really unique things to explore.
Okay. You mentioned fish. I know, like, going back to when my mom went, is because my grandfather liked to fish there. And you mentioned that the lake is stocked with the tiger muskie. Are there other fish that are stocked in the lake?
Oh yeah. So okay. Rainbow trout's the big fish here. There's smallmouth bass. There's black crappie. There's kokanee. Kokanee is stocked in this lake too.
That's a beer, isn't it?
It's a fish too. And we are close to Canada, but It is a fish in this context. But
okay.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of different. It's really a buffet lake.
Okay.
There's a yellow perch in this lake now. About 8 years, 8 to 10 years ago, that was illegally dumped in this lake, and it's really taken over.
Hmm.
Um,
So
and
more like a
so
predator? Or is it not a predator,
it
maybe, but
it, it
invasive?
it's non-native.
Okay.
Um, it's I mean, the climate here, or the lake is perfect for perch. Can adapt to a lot of lakes, and so really just kind of took over. But they're fun to catch still too, and like they'll bite at anything. And so when you have families out fishing on the dock, and a kid catches their first fish because it's easier to catch a perch like that, it's actually a really good thing. So
Right.
um, the trout fishermen will tell you, yeah, I don't want the perch in here, but it adds something. It does add something. But it really is a buffet lake. You can catch just a wide variety of different fish here, and so that makes it that much more popular for fishing.
All right. All right. As as I warned you, I bounce around a lot. But from a career standpoint, as being a park ranger, is there a like how long is a park ranger typically at a park?
It varies by the park. I would say something really cool about Curlew Lake, since 1958. Uh, there's only from 1958 to 2022, when the last career park ranger retired at this location. There was only 4 rangers at this location,
Oh wow.
and
Okay.
so they stayed a long time here. Uh, so you had, the first ranger that was here when this park was created. He was here from, the late 50s, 60s, early 70s. Then you had somebody from the 70s to the 80s, like just
Right.
decades and
Right.
decades. And the last ranger that just retired in 2022 here, he was here for, I believe, 21 years,
Oh
21 or
wow. Okay.
22 years. And so rangers stay a long time here. And that just says something about the this how special this park is. But then you get other state parks that, um, people bounce around a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
so it just kind of depends on the area, and who you got at that park, and if they're, wanting to, move up into a different rank, or move to a different area of the state, or how it works. And not everybody wants to live in a certain area,
Right.
or in
Right.
the middle of nowhere, and which for me it's kind of the opposite. I love living out in the middle of nowhere here now. So um, yeah, so it just depends on the park, but
Okay. So there's not like a set, I don't want to compare you to the military, but in the military, they kind of, you stay at a base and then they move you around type thing. So,
no, it varies. Yeah.
okay. What are you looking forward to this winter up there? It's going to be your first winter now. Have you, well, yeah, I got to be honest with you. I keep thinking of Jack Nicholson in The Shining, because you're going to get snowed in and all of that. No, but, what are you looking forward to? Cause if we're being, if we're looking at the map, you're very north for anywhere in the United States, much less just Washington State. You're very close to Canada,
Yeah.
which puts you into that really narrow northern band across the entire U.S. So you're going to have potentially a pretty heavy winter.
Yeah.
It's pretty remote. The state does a great job of plowing the roads, though. I mean, so you're not going to be snowed in,
No.
but you're probably not going to drive down to Wenatchee to run to Costco. Let's just put it that way. That's probably not, I'll just hop in the convertible and go to Costco. No, that's not going to happen. But what are you looking forward to for the winter?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to for snow.
Okay.
And uh, like I said, I've worked at some other Eastern region parks, and where when I worked at Alta Lake, we had some big snowstorms, and it just makes, I like embracing every season for what it brings. And, if it's going to be cold and dark, give me some snow to play in, and just embrace that. And so I'm actually looking forward to a lot of snow, um, even though it brings a lot of challenges logistically and travel and, just the maintenance of things. But I'll be plowing in the park. I didn't get a lot of opportunities to plow last winter, at my park, because it was a really mild winter and we didn't have a lot of snow. So might be a little rusty on the plow, but it'll be good to get out there and get back at
Oh,
it. But
you'll get a lot of practice this winter.
yeah. But I'm really looking forward to, snowshoeing and skiing and just playing in the snow. I want to do snowshoe trails here in the winter, and maybe have some guided hikes, and possibly even like a first day hike event that, it's a group ranger led snowshoe hike. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to playing in the snow, but doing projects in the shop, and kind of just embracing and enjoying winter, in those kind of ways.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give you some feedback that you should give to the state, because
Okay.
when the park says it's closed and you want to do snowshoeing, you're sending a mixed message. I think you got to get the state to say the campground is closed, but the park is open. Because if people want to come out and they think the park's closed, well, they're not going to look at you. Whereas if they go, oh, I can't camp, but I can still, there's a snowshoeing event, let's just say. That's cool. I think that's wonderful. And I think got to get the state, whoever's managing the website, get them to modify that for you.
Definitely. Yeah. And we do get ice fishing in the wintertime out here. So that's a really popular thing.
Right.
When the lake freezes over. So another winter sport that Curlew Lake is known for. So ice fishing is really busy in the wintertime here, but just trying to kind of add some extra recreational activities for the winter for sure.
Now, if I was a crazy person who wanted to go ice fishing, because that's what I think they are, could I access the lake from the park during January, let's say?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So that's one of the main reasons, we plow. We keep it open for the public, and we plow out parking.
Wow.
And we have access to the lake year round. So we get the snow moved, and you can park and get out on the ice and fish.
Okay. Have you been fishing on the lake?
I have not been ice fishing on the lake, but I fished a little bit, unsuccessfully.
Unsuccessfully. All right.
Yeah.
That was the follow-up question. All right. So so far unsuccessfully. All right.
Hopefully next summer I'll be able to fish a little bit more, just with the first summer up here, and balancing work and life and home and all that too. So yeah.
Right. So, as a park ranger, I guess during the summer, I'm going to guess. I mean, I was wrong, because I would have thought you would have been working, 7 days a week just because of the volume of activity. What was your what days were you able to take off during the summer?
I would take weekdays off. So usually, middle of the week, a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Wednesday, Thursday, depending on what's going on. But yeah, it was pretty regular as far as that goes. When those were our slowest days of incoming campers, and how that works. So yeah, and a lot of rangers across the state do that, where we stack the weekends and with staff, and then people take staggered days off through the weekdays.
Right. Well, yeah, because I'm going to guess your guests are coming in primarily. The weekends are going to be heavier, is what I guess. All right. So for the listeners, I want you to give them a piece of advice. Is there something that, as a park ranger, you wish the public knew, so that it would not just help you do your job, but like, do people need to be prepared when they're checking in? What's a little tip or trick that would go a long ways?
Yeah. Before I came to Curlew Lake, I would say just the educating the difference between the access pass and a discover pass.
Mm-hmm.
I did so much of that work at all my other parks of like people who thought they had a discover pass because they had their fishing license and the tag that they give them. Um, it's kind of ironic now because out here that's not necessary. You can have either or here, so it's kind of it's different. But I think one tip of advice would be make sure you check into the camps. Make sure you check in, even though you reserve your site.
Mm-hmm.
The follow through with the registration process. So get checked in, because you're gonna. It's not just about that piece of paper showing that you have that campsite. It's about giving us the opportunity to share what's going on in the area, and letting us give you a heads up on different events happening that weekend in the town that we could tell you about or get you to and stuff. So it's more than just that piece of paper, but it's about getting the lowdown for the weekend. What's going on? Are we having a program this weekend, or is there anything else going on? Or what, maybe it's your first time out here. Here's some other things that maybe you didn't know about that you could go do. And so help us help you create the best experience that you can have. So get checked into the campsite and stop in at the booth in the ranger station and learn everything you can do for your time while you're camping here.
All right. That's actually great advice, because I like that help us help you type thing, because you know what's going on. You can share that with me as I'm pulling in. All right. So I have some other questions, and these revolve more about you day to day. I always ask guests these questions, so I don't know how you're going to answer them.
Okay.
But I'm a coffee guy, and every guest I ask this question, like, where's a great place to get a cup of coffee near you? What do you got for me?
So there's not a lot of places near me, really, being so remote, but there is a couple. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but there is Sparky's coffee stand on the main strip in the town of Republic. That's fantastic.
Okay.
They also serve ice cream, and so that's why I visited it and learned that they also serve coffee. But Sparky's coffee stand in Republic is fantastic. And then so that's where I would
direct point me there to. All right. Now, because I also like to eat, and I'm probably going to get up there around lunchtime. Where's a great place for lunch? I guess we're going to probably say Republic, but where's a great place for lunch in Republic?
Yeah, I'll give you two options. I'll give you one in Republic, and then if you're headed north, I'll give you one in Curlew.
Oh, okay.
So in Republic, I gotta say, Fat Guy's Food Truck. It's off the main road. It's about a block back, right, hidden behind the library.
Okay.
It's smash burgers and sweet potato fries is my go-to. Okay. Probably way too much, but that I go there. But it's fantastic. It's delicious. So I definitely would point people in that direction.
All right, Fat Guy's Food Truck. All right, I like the name. I resemble the name, so it's like, okay, got it. All right, what's my other choice?
And then in Curlew, there's tugboats.
Tugboats. I've eaten at tugboats.
You've been to tugboats?
I've been to tugboat.
Okay, cool.
Yes, I forgot about them.
Yeah, it's that's a good place too. So if you're going north, definitely. If you're going north up to maybe visit Randall and the smallest state park in Washington, which is part of Curlew Lake. I forgot to mention that, but we have the gravesite up at Randall McDonald gravesite that is the smallest state park in Washington. It's about a 10 by 10 gravesite that we manage up there, and tons of history of his life.
All right. So when we created this directory of Washington State Parks, that was not one that was included because The state parks, the state doesn't actually list it as a state park. They list it as a historical site or something like that. But so do you oversee it? Is that overseen out of your place?
Yeah. So we here at Curlew Lake, we are the ones that go up there and make sure things are cleaned up, that, the walkway up to it is nice and weeded. There's not a ton of maintenance, obviously, because it's so small, but, just make sure that, the weeds are managed around there and cleaned up and stuff.
Right. Now there's one, I'm going to try to scroll to it. It's near the end. It's alphabetical. So here on the state site, have you ever been to Willie Keel's grave?
No, it's on my list. It's over by the Willapa Hills Trail.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I've seen that on the map. It looks interesting.
Have you heard the story?
I read it once, but I don't remember what it is.
So I'm gonna butcher it because I'm gonna try to make it brief. But so basically, here's the premise: is, his dad was leading a group of people from like Missouri out here to start a, I don't know what the right word I want to use. I'll say a colony, but that's not probably right. But basically, it was a religious group of people that wanted to move out into the Washington area, into the Northwest to establish themselves. And Willie died like at 19, and he was going to be pulling. He would be running one of the ox teams to pull the wagons from Missouri to the West Coast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his last wish of his dad was, I want to be buried out there. So they built a wagon, or converted a wagon, lined it with lead, and filled it with whiskey and put his body in it. And they took him from Missouri all the way out here. And the Guinness Book of Records calls it the longest funeral procession in history. But they were stopped by Indians. And they were able to explain to the Indians what they were doing, and the Indians provided them with accompaniment to the final site. I've lived here my entire life. I'm kind of I like history. I'm not saying I know everything about Washington State, because I don't. That's a grandiose task. I'd never heard of that story until maybe 6 months ago. Like, I want to go there now too. I thought that was the smallest, because it's just a section of a private cemetery out there. So I thought that was technically the smallest state park. But the one up by you, it sounds even smaller.
It is. I mean, Willie is probably not much bigger than Randall. I don't know, but Randall is basically a 10 by 10 grave site, and it's the grave itself is not standalone. It's in a cemetery, and we just do the maintenance on the grave site, the weed eating, and manage the historical site. But yeah, it's not much. It's a, and there used to even be a sign on the highway that said Washington's smallest state park.
Okay. Right.
It's not there now. I don't know where it went, but
okay.
I don't know if it's in somebody's garage or something now, or
probably like somebody's backyard. I mean,
it's kind of a cool sign.
Yeah.
Kind of a cool sign, the smallest state park sign. But so it's not a lot of maintenance up there, but his story is just so interesting. And I'm actually on Thursday meeting with our agency historian, and Randall McDonald's is actually his favorite state park, is what I've heard. So it'll be really interesting to meet with Sam on Thursday and hear learn more about Randall. But kind of just an overview of it was he just did a little bit of everything, honestly, but he convinced a captain to give him a ship to pretend to be shipwrecked in Japan, and Japan was a closed off country at that time, and so he purposely got he faked being a shipwreck and to get captured purposely in Japan, and as a captured person, he then taught English to people in Japan, and opened up a lot of just a lot of communication between Japan and the rest of the world and everything. So there's so much more, but that's kind of just a general like brief of what he did. But he did a bunch of other stuff. There's books and books and so much information for the smallest state park. There's a ton of history within of his story. So excited to learn a lot more about that in the next little bit.
All right. We're going to wrap this up. Going to ask you a couple of other questions about state parks, though. And these are now preface what I'm about to ask you. The answers are yours, Joe. These are Joe's opinions, not Washington State Parks or anything like that. All right, Joe?
Okay.
You can go camp in any state park this winter. Where do you want to go?
Ooh, winter camping.
Winter camping.
Winter camping. Ooh. Well, my plan this winter, and I've been talking with my maintenance team on this, is we're planning out we're plowing out about 3 or 4 campsites here at Curlew to try to provide some sort of primitive camping for ice fishermen.
Okay.
Even though the campground's closed, right? Park's still open. So, but as far as this winter, oh gosh, I haven't camped in the winter for a while. But I mean, gosh, I would say for winter camping, there's not a lot of parks that stay open camping over winter, but I mean, I say if you get a good winter, warm winter, and going down to Riverside State Park and camping there, and where you can go out and hit the trails first thing off your, bring your mountain bike and do some winter trail riding.
Okay.
That's got to be an option, I think. Obviously, there's so many more options in the summer, but winter, I would say that's a good one.
Okay, so now the second question is, and I'm going to add a caveat here, and I'm going to trust you to be honest with me. All right, where do you want to camp this next summer that you haven't already been to?
That I haven't been to.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I don't know where you've been. So you can lie to me here, and I'm just not going to, I'm not going to get it. But if you say Alto Lake, I'm going to call you on it. No.
Yeah.
But where? How about any state park this summer? Where would you want to go?
Yeah, I think a couple of the parks that are kind of on my list. I think would be going out to like Bogachiel, out to the rainforest. I haven't ever been camping out there.
Okay.
And so I think that's kind of something I'm interested in, and just exploring that area of our state. And then also I think like Sequest. I think Sequest would be really interesting to go down there and explore Mount St. Helens. And there's a new, they just redid the whole Mount St. Helens Visitor Center, and go through there and explore that, and that corner. So basically, the northwest corner, I guess, and and then kind of the southwest corner, because I've really my entire career I've spent on the east side, and I've been really fortunate to go explore on my own and or on family trips and stuff. I've been to probably at least half of our state parks already. Okay. But I would say, or even like the San Juans. I don't really, I haven't been up that way in a long time, but that'd be kind of interesting to go up that way too. But the rainforest, Bogachiel, that area I think would be really interesting, and then Mount St. Helens for sure.
Okay. Now that's completely probably unrealistic, because summertime you're going to be busy at your park, but we had okay. Thank you for not throwing that one back at me. All right. So my last question to you, and I ask every guest this question, and prefaced it with you that you promised you'd play along. All right. And you promised you'd answer. So here's the question. Are you ready?
Okay, let's do it.
Cake or pie?
Cake or pie? Ooh, okay. I'm going to go with pie. And this is just, I got to go with blue ribbon, strawberry rhubarb pie that my grandma makes. And there's no beating that. I mean, in reality, I'm probably going to have both. I'm probably going to have a slice of both, but
now that's cheating, man. It's cake or pie. You gotta go. All right. So you're picking pie.
I'm gonna have to say I'm picking pie, strawberry rhubarb pie. That's my go-to.
Very good. Well, Joe, thank you for sitting down with me, explaining more about your park, more about the state park system. I learned a lot. I'm looking forward to coming up to Curlew, checking it out again. And I'm not sure when that'll happen, but that'll, one of these days, well, probably after winter. I'm probably not going to getting to you from my place during winter. That's a lot of mountain passes to deal with. And, a little bit daunting for me. It'll probably be spring. I'll head back up there, but it's beautiful up there. I was there before you were involved in the park, so we have to give kudos to the park ranger before you. It was well maintained. I'm sure it looks wonderful with you too. Beautiful park. If you haven't been up there, I encourage anyone that's listening to go up there or go to any of our Washington State parks. They're absolutely a resource that is. I'm seeing my dog agrees that they're a resource. So, but anyway, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Scott. Appreciate it.
Hope you enjoyed the show. You can reach me on Twitter at ExploreWaState. I'd love to hear your comments. You can also visit our website at explorewashingtonstate.com. If you know anyone who would like the show, it'd be amazing if you'd share the show with them. This is the biggest way that we grow this show. Good old word of mouth. Glad you were here with me today, and I hope to have you listening to the next episode. See you then.